But in terms of the DeFi option space, can you talk more about the state of that? I know that it's still quite new and doesn't have the breadth of the TradFi option space. So can you kind of talk about like the current state of the DeFi option space?
Yeah, this is like a question I get on every interview. Yeah, because it is a complicated matter because liquidity is not as easy as just like an AMM, right? An AMM is pretty easy. You basically have the spot price, right? And you just deposit tokens and that's it, right? On the option side, the options always have to be fully collateralized, right? In case of black swan events or et cetera, right? So they have to be fully collateralized, but there's so many parameters that set these options that are basically make them have fractionalized pools, right? So you would basically have maybe call options on 1,600, 1,700, 1,800, and for every single strike, you would basically or expiry even could be a week or a month, or basically it creates like these a lot of different scenarios that can happen, right? And basically this fragments the liquidity that is deposited in it, right? So you would basically have to deposit ETH instead of just depositing ETH like on an AMM, just depositing it. You'd have to deposit one ETH over there, one ETH at 1,600, et cetera, right? So it is a liquidity issue, basically what we have at on options on DeFi, and I believe that that's basically because also like on TradFi, this is not a problem because there's a lot of volume, right? And DeFi is still like it's still very small for it to already have an option market. But we are looking into like some solutions. Like every option protocol has their own way to go about it. And at Dopex, what we did basically, when we launched like a year and a half ago, is that we decided to do. What about if we concentrate basically the strikes by on 4 strikes. Let's do every month. Let's say we had monthly and weekly bots, right? Which are what users mostly want. And we said instead of having like I don't know, like 10 strikes, let's concentrate the strikes over 4 strikes. And these 4 strikes would basically concentrate the liquidity there. So it would be a better user experience for the buyer because he's going to be able to purchase the options that he actually wants, right? Because if we fragment, maybe there's going to be missing liquidity, or maybe it's going to be not enough for him to purchase, right? So that was the first idea, like when we launched, and as we progress, we've actually uh, like advanced and said like, okay, what can we do to basically make this collateral more efficient, right? So the idea behind making the collateral more efficient is basically look, this the collateral deposited inside these options are sitting there not doing nothing until the expiry date, right? Because the only time that you actually need the collateral within the option is when the settlement comes. So when the settlement comes, you basically are uh, how to say that you're basically that's the moment that you need the collateral to basically settle the option completely, right? So until then, the collateral is idle, and what we can do meanwhile with that collateral is use it inside other DeFi primitives to make it more capital efficient. So what we do is basically we invented basically something called Atlantics, and Atlantics what it does is basically it takes the collateral within the options and it uses it in other DeFi primitives. Like let's say if you guys are familiar with GMX, where you can
Yep.
open a perpetual position, we could use the collateral within the option to basically have no liquidation on GMX. So you could basically open a leverage position on GMX, let's say a 10x leverage position, but with no liquidation price. So
Okay. So it's
yeah,
almost
so I
like
think
liquid options, liquid staking, but with options, I guess.
it's basically making collateral more efficient within options, right? Like using
Yeah.
the options meanwhile they expire. So yeah, I think like the idea is pretty cool because like it opens up a lot of possibilities in DeFi. Like if you remember back in the bull days when the ETH was like 4,800, and basically when we started dropping, right, after all the commotion and everything, basically what happened if you saw the graphs, you see like some cascades, right? Like some stairs, basically stairway cascades, right? Because that's basically users getting liquidated on a leveraged position, right? So the idea is like Dopex wants to be the layer of options, but at the same time on the back end we want to basically use these options to prevent liquidation in DeFi. So we want to basically be the make DeFi unliquidable through options on the back end. So we're calling that OpFi, and basically it stands for option as infrastructure and DeFi. So basically we use basically you could go on Aave. Let's say you go on Aave and basically have a leveraged position, but with no liquidation price, right? That would be cool, right? So the idea is basically we want to make a checkbox on these protocols, and you could just click that checkbox, and basically it does what it does is basically it makes your position unliquidable, and on the back end what it does is basically it hedges off your position by purchasing out the money puts, which are very inexpensive but are still fully collateralized, and by doing that it basically prevents you from getting liquidated for until the expiry of the option.
Nice. That's really cool. I wrote an article about DopeX like a few months ago, and I guess I didn't see that one. I wrote an article about DeFi options, but I didn't see that back then. That's a really interesting feature. So, what other issues within the DeFi option space is DopeX trying to tackle?
Yeah, so we're basically using we're gonna use the collateral within the options, and through that we're basically doing unliquidable positions, like I mentioned, on either perpetuals or either CDPs, right? So with Aave and stuff like that. And other stuff would be like we're also gonna launch basically our own Aave in quotes, right? Like we're gonna launch our options lending, and what that allows is basically you let's say you purchase a put option on Ethereum and you deposit one Ethereum, right? Because the put option basically has parameters, and the parameters of a put options is either telling you, let's say ETH is $1,300. You purchase a put at $1,300, and this put basically wants either one Ethereum back or either wants is $1,300 back, right? So that's the parameters of this option. So by purchasing $1,300 put, basically now what you can do is basically deposit one Ethereum inside this put and basically borrow the collateral within the put. So you're basically borrowing the $1,300 while still holding your Ethereum, right? So it's basically we're inventing an option, basically option for infrastructure with a lending platform on the front end, right? So yeah, I think like those are like really cool concepts that we're bringing into the market, and basically that's it's an unliquidable position, right? At the same time, so basically you're providing through option liquidity, you're providing lending liquidity, and you're providing unliquidable positions compared to an Aave, for example. So basically another place we're going, another venue basically that we're going through also is going to be option perps, right? So you're going to be able to purchase, basically sell a put and purchase a call option, and that basically replicates how do you say that?
Like a straddle?
Wait, no, sorry, the word doesn't come to mind, but a synthetic long, right?
Oh yeah.
So it replicates a synthetic long because you're selling a put, right? Selling a put, you're basically bullish, and basically buying a call. And the reason why we're selling a put is because the sell of the put, the premium covers the purchase of the call. So basically now you're long without it costing nothing. But basically what we want is basically having like the same feeling that you would be having on GMX, for example. You basically add margin, and the margin is what we use as a loss until you get liquidated, of course. So yeah, we're basically using options as an infrastructure for you to create a synthetic long position or a short position. So basically, a perp protocol, but through options again. So that's another venue we're gonna go through, and we have a bunch of other. We're gonna have option scalps also coming out. which is going to allow you basically to purchase like a very short, let's say for an hour or even less, options to basically scalp, do scalps, right? So you're going to be able to profit off and those differentials, basically arbitrage in a way, right? Um, what else? I think basically we have a lot going on, so it's like hard for me to remember everything. But yeah, like Dopex is trying to build basically a whole ecosystem around options, and at the end line you can still come on Dopex, purchase uh, vanilla options, but the goal is basically to have the collateral be usable. So basically, you're not only selling options when you come on Dopex, but you're selling options that get the collateral within the options used, which is going to basically provide you passive yield on top of your option premium that you're going to receive uh, compared to other venues, right?
Nice.